Yo, what is up, you guys? Welcome to my first Gokurakugai manga chapter review. We're here for chapter 20. This manga is really good, you guys. It's fairly new. It only has 20 chapters out, like I said. And if you haven't read it, I urge you guys to consider checking it out. It's really fun. It's good. The premise of the story is good. The characters are very cool. And yeah, so let's get on into chapter 20. We start off this time around with a phenomenal cover, you guys, of Alma. It looks great. The art in general in this manga is really good, but this cover page was so detailed, so good, you guys. Phenomenal work. And a lot of people on Twitter were talking about it, which I'm glad, you know, is getting attention and stuff like that. A lot of bigger accounts, so I'm happy for Gokurakugai. Anywho's, so the chapter starts off with Miss Tao and Alma talking about mangas, and Miss Tao explains to Alma that the manga abilities, their abilities that the mangas use, are most likely related to the cause of their passing. I'm changing, by the way, I'm going to change around some of the words just for YouTube and stuff. So, you know, I hope you guys will be able to understand. It shouldn't be that difficult. But yeah, just letting you guys know. She also talks about, you know, there have been a bunch of disfigured corpses that are the works of the manga that have bled, starved, and got crushed. One thing that I was curious about before was Kanata's ability, because we saw that she would be biting people and stuff like that, and then when she turned into a full-on manga, she just bit somebody. And I'm assuming that I'm gonna go ahead and guess that her ability was probably related to starving, because Miss Tao puts emphasis on it. And Kanata, we saw a lot of her interactions and her situations with being related to food, where when she went out to eat with Alma, she couldn't eat, and when she would like bite people and stuff like that. So I feel like that's probably what it was, which sucks. And Utsuru, of course, like the whole bleed situation, and she uses like knives and stuff like that, which I believe is probably what she took or used to take herself out. Anywho's, Tao tells Alma, listen, if you run into a manga, don't take them out, subdue them, and capture them. Alma's like, wait, why? Like, why don't we just take them out like we do everybody else? And Tao says, well, we have to get information out of them for like about Yomi. And of course, Yomi is the leader of like these mangas and stuff like that, and I'm really curious about like their whole group. They seem like some really cool characters. I like Utsuru a lot too. It might be a it might not be a popular take. I've seen a lot of people that don't like her, but I like her a lot. And Miss Tao also puts emphasis on the fact that Yomi considers the manga his family, which I find interesting too. So I wonder what that's all about, you know. Maybe his power has something to do with that. It would be crazy though, because when Alma was attacking him, when Yomi first showed up in front of Alma, one thing that Yomi did tell us was that he knows Alma from before, and his power was kind of weird. It kind of reminded me of Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, where when Miss Tao shot at him, or when Nate tried to attack him, he just couldn't be touched. So I wonder what that's about and how Alma will deal with that, and that'll be really cool, you guys. Yomi, very interesting character. Anyways, so then we go back to Utsuru versus Alma, and the action in this chapter was great. Alma's out here trying to duck and dodge all these knives that Utsuru is throwing at him, but of course he gets hit by a couple of them. So then he goes close to Utsuru, chops off her arms, and a little bit of her blood gets in his eye, and his eye just starts to sting. And Alma points it out too. He's like, yo, just a little bit of blood got in my eye, and I'm feeling like this. And then Utsuru just continues like controlling these knives. Her ability, you guys, Utsuru's blood like manipulation ability is so cool, you guys, because you know the knives she uses are made from blood, of course, because she manipulates blood and like the whole blood loss situation. And then she takes her knives, calls them close to herself, and she makes the coolest what is it? A scythe. Sorry, I almost called it an axe. She makes the coolest scythe, and she tries to attack Alma and stuff like that. And Alma is out here telling us that he's lost a lot of blood, but even though Utsuru has lost a lot of blood as well, she's still able to move because she's a pure manga, unlike Alma. And Alma says that the only way to kill these mangas is to get rid of their core, or destroy their core rather, because she won't die just from running out of blood, which I find to be very ironic, considering what Utsuru is always doing. You know, you guys know she's always, yeah. So then we get a little bit of dialogue where, you know, Utsuru tells Alma that he is very tough. Everybody by now would have been done and over with. And then Alma's thinking, he's like, what can I do to actually like stop her? So he says, you know, maybe I could go close to her and actually grab her. But then we see a little chibi diagram of her just in love, and then he's like, nah, if I get too close, like she'll take me out. And then we see Alma look back into the water, and he notices something. And when I was reading this chapter, I was like, wait, what could it be? Like at first I thought maybe he'll try and like throw her in the water, and which I mean he ends up doing later on anyways. But then when he's attacking Utsuru again, so he lunges and he cuts her legs and yada yada yada, all that stuff, right? But of course Utsuru, she regenerates, she throws some knives at Alma, and Alma dodges them with ease. And we also get a little panel of like the knives, the blood knives, going into the water, which obviously, you know, it's gonna mix with the water and stuff like that. So then Alma comes and he kicks Utsuru all the way into the fountain, which I thought was so savage. First he kicks her head into the ground, and then he just straight up punts her into the fountain. And then after that, Utsuru realizes, well, at first she's throwing a little tantrum. She's like, why are you cheating on me, yada yada yada, you know, just being the supreme yandere that she is. And then Utsuru realizes, wait, like my legs are not regenerating, I can't get up. And then Alma's like, yeah, like I thought so, when I throw you in the water it's not gonna work, yada yada yada. Regardless of that though, you know, one thing I find interesting is Alma says you'll get paralyzed and shriveled up, and Utsuru, like, she makes the most like enraged face. I don't think we've seen Utsuru this upset so far. So then she lunges at Alma, she tries to like stab him. Alma's trying to actually, he's trying his best to not obviously die, but this just goes to show the difference between Alma and these magas. Like imagine how strong like people, I'm sure like they're gonna get stronger, you know, with like Utsuru. In my opinion, I feel like she's probably the second weakest out of Yomi's group after Kanata, because we know Kanata was in that group, whether if she was in it willingly or not, but she was in that group because I remember Yomi was talking about it and how she wouldn't show up to dinner and stuff like that. So then Utsuru's like, hey, like she's confessing her quote unquote love. She's like, why won't you love me back and stuff like that. And Alma just straight up tells her like, yo, why would I love you when all you think about is yourself and all that stuff. And Utsuru just going crazy. She's like, you need to make me happy, yada yada yada. And then right after we see Utsuru is right when she's about to stab Alma, her hands get shot off. And of course, it's the best girl, Miss Tao, is here. She's like, yo, you can't mess with him without my permission. And she's so badass, you guys. One of my favorite new gen female characters, honestly. Miss Tao. So then Utsuru gets upset because we know before she was upset at Miss Tao as well, because Alma was around her a lot. And so then she tries to attack Miss Tao. Tao straight up kicks her in her head. Oh, Miss Tao is so badass, you guys. She kicks her in her head, and then she takes a stake of karmic restraint. It's not the same one as Alma's, because Alma has his cleaver in his hand, so it's not the same one as his. So then she takes it and then she pierces Utsuru's chest with it, and then we see Utsuru just pass out and Miss Tao takes her. And Alma even points out that there's a stake, and I don't think that it's the same one as Alma's, because Alma, when he takes it out, I believe his turns into his cleaver. Now here are a couple things that I'm curious about. How does Miss Tao know that these stakes can actually knock these magas out? Because we know that in Alma's case, it just stops him from using his maga powers. Now, that is another thing. Initially, I thought before that when Alma took it out, it allowed him to become a maga, but I feel like in the sense that it was giving him a power up, right? But now that I'm looking at it, I feel like when the stake is in his chest, it's actually suppressing him, if that makes sense. It's suppressing his maga side, and when he takes it out, he becomes a maga. That's a cool concept, you guys, and I wonder how Tao knew about this. I can't wait to get into the backstory of Miss Tao and Alma, how she met him, how she knows about like the stake of karmic restraint and all that stuff. And it's very, very cool, you guys. This manga, you guys, is amazing. Alma needs to get stronger. Okay, that's just a fact. Alma needs to get stronger. A couple things could happen here. Utsuru, first of all, the one that I feel like might be the most likely, because here's the thing: all the people that are around Alma, none of them are magas, so they can't really help him train as a maga, if that makes sense. Utsuru right now is the only one. I can see Utsuru for the time being kind of turning traitor, because she is in love with Alma, according to her. so she might just turn sides and help Alma get stronger. Granted, I don't see Alma, you know, reciprocating her interest in him, so eventually I do think that she might end up getting taken out by one of the other mangas. It would be pretty cool. It would be kind of cool, and it would give Alma a little bit more motive to take them out. Granted, he wants to take Yomi out right now, but I feel like he doesn't really know, and Yoru as well, kind of, because he was at, like, he knows, Alma knows that the situation between Yoru and Miss Tao, how he's her younger brother. That is also really, really cool. That reveal was wild. But I feel like Utsuru might help Alma. Or one more thing that could happen is, which I don't think is likely, but it's just an idea that came in my head, so I thought that I would bring it up anyways, is that Utsuru or Alma and Tao could use Utsuru to, and Alma could be like, wait, I'll go join their group and I'll try and learn information from there. Even if that does happen, I don't see it lasting for too long, but it is something that there is a chance of it happening. I don't think there's a high chance, but there's a small chance that Alma might try and do that, and it might work, because again, we need mangas to help Alma, because they're the ones that know how to best utilize their power, right? You guys, this chapter was phenomenal. The only complaint I have about Gokurakugai is that the manga is monthly, and as soon as the chapter is finished, we have to wait a month. And in the case of last month, we had to wait 2 months, so when it was on break. And you guys, this manga is good. Again, if you guys have made it this far and you guys haven't read the manga, which I don't know why you would, but if you have, I urge you guys to consider reading it. It's really, really good. I've been having a blast reading it. I have a lot of friends that I told to read it, and they've been enjoying it. You guys will have fun. But you guys, let me know what you guys thought about this chapter down below. If you guys have any theories and what you guys think will happen going forward. Next chapter will be interesting, because we're going to try to extract some information out of Utsuru about Yomi. I don't expect her to know too much. Yomi does seem like the type of person that doesn't really tell other people a lot about him in case they get compromised. He doesn't seem like the kind of person that's very trusting. He seems very manipulative, where he gives off the vibe that he is trusting them, but he doesn't. So he could earn people's trust, and he could use them and stuff like that. I'm sure that's the kind of character he is, but he's interesting nonetheless. But you guys, that was it from me. I'll see you guys in the next chapter, when the next chapter comes out, hopefully. But if you guys enjoyed, consider leaving a like, commenting, and if you're new here, you guys, consider subscribing. It will mean a whole lot to me. Again, let me know you guys' thoughts about this chapter, and as always, I will catch you guys in the next one.